Back to Yin Yang Split Part 2, Darsha Escape. That's when a doctor came into the room and saw the pod open. She slowly walks in the pod to see if anyone's inside. In first-person view, but no one was there, she found a note on the floor, and it said, "Look behind you." The camera slowly turns from her back into doctor front. Darsha was right behind her with a pair of scissors. The doctor slowly turns, and Darsha stabbed her. She let out a loud scream that alerted the guard. The guard ran into the location of where he heard the screams with his weapon out. He slowly, constantly entered the room, and the doctor, barely alive. The guard rushed towards her on the floor and puts his gun down, trying to close the wound with his hand, for the doctor can warn that they're not alone. Darsha came behind the guard and then slit his throat fast. He held his throat gurgling. Well, the doctor screamed, but no one else can hear it. There were only 3 people in the building: the guard, the doctor, and Lorenzo. Back to the story. Darsha just stared at her with a grin and stabbed her point blank of the throat. She struggled for a minute, then she died. That's when Darsha took the gun from the guard's body. The movie cuts to Lorenzo in his office, writing something in his paper. That's when Darsha came into the room. Lorenzo was shocked from seeing her and asking how and why she came to the building and his office. She didn't. She just stared at him and gave a sinister grin at him again. He responded, "Why are you here? And why are you naked?" She just stared at him. And this is the picture to describe the stare, and said, "I am not." Sasha Lorenzo, with a confused face, tried to progress the situation. Then he slowly saw the gun in her hand, and finally understanding the situation, he slowly reaches his desk to press the alarm button, creates alarm noise to attract the cops before he can do that. She left up the gun and shot at him. The bullet missed his head and went straight to the ear, and that's when the song started playing in the background, Lowell Bloodthirsty. Then she shot him twice and he fall on the floor. She'll walk towards his body and try to shoot him in the head. Click. There was no bullet in the gun. He was not breathing. That's when she looked in the drawer in the desk and found another gun, and she walked away, not before putting on a lab coat. She walked out and walked away from the building. A few cars passed her by. That's what she showed her body. Given a thumbs up, eventually a car stopped. The person in the car was a middle-aged man, and he said with a small, "Can I help you?" She smiled and said yeah, and shot him in the head and stole his car. Now back to Sasha's story. She's hanging out with Mike and Erica, her childhood friends, that's in her college room. Now back to Sasha's story. She's hanging out with Mike and Erica, her childhood friends, that's in her college room, watching scary movies with their computer. Her friend said something, "Chang, about you." Sasha, "I don't know what it is." Sasha said, "What do you mean?" Erica said, "You're going to churches, going to group activities, and crying and cringe when you watch a scary movie, especially when it involves murder and torture. Are you a fraginus, a term? Means someone who can't handle gore and blood and violence?" Back to the story. After said that to Sasha, "Respond, I just grew out of it." I guess that's when she heard of Ring, and that was her phone. She picked up her phone, received a phone call in the hospital, and said, "Do you know Lorenzo?" She said yes. The doctor said he's in the hospital, and he put you as his emergency contact. So she rushed into the hospital. Lorenzo in the hospital bed. She asked, "What happened?" "It was shot at." She said, "Shut up by who?" He said, "By your evil self." She just started him with a stunned look. "What are you talking about? You're evil. Half killed my employees and tried to kill me. I only survived by playing dead and holding my breath. Honestly, if it wasn't for the gun not having any more bullets to finish me off with the headshot, I wouldn't be here." She interrupts him and says, "What evil half, like a clone or something?" He responds, "Yes, something like that." She said, "How is this possible?" He said, "I'll explain everything to you, but not here." It was later discharged. They drove back to his building. That's when he tells her why you work from these projects and why there's an evil Sasha running around. Lorenzo and Sasha start talking. Annie explains the reason for the project is to see if we can cure someone's psychopathic behavior. We tried the experiments on predatory animals, like a lion. Lorenzo led Sasha to a room where it shows 2 lions, and he said, "This is our first subject." We tested it on lion 1 Yang and lion 2 Yin, and then we sent prey to lion 1. And surprisingly, lion 1 did not attack or kill the prey. It started playing with prey licking its face. And then out of curiosity, we just left the deer there for 2 days to see if lion 1 acted on its instincts to survive. And despite that, lion 1 still wouldn't kill, not even to act on nature to survive. So we pulled the prey out and started feeding lion 1 meat and started eating it. This was fascinating. It can't kill a living life, but can eat something that's already dead, that killed for lion 1. But lion 2, on the other hand, the minute we started to unleash the prey to its cage, lion 2 started brutally attacking the prey with no mercy and started eating it. Sasha was shocked. She didn't expect the machine to have that capability of creating new life like that. Lorenzo cuts in response. This only removed the negative. Yin energy, he told her, this isn't new life. Well, lion 1 is the original, but lion 2 isn't. It's just a manifestation vessel of yin that we took out of the lion 1. Sasha said, yeah, but that doesn't change the fact that it's still life of its own. He responded, you're a life that should never be let out of that cage. She said, if you think that, then why even create this project? He responded, because to prevent people like you or psychopaths to go to the same thing. My brother went through silence, filled the room after he said that. Sasha, she responded, your brother, what happened to your brother? He responded, the same thing that would have happened to you and the other psychopaths in the past that couldn't control their psychopathic yin impulses. But after doing some reflection and examining the lions, seeing them, I get it that both sides need each other to survive, and balancing each other out, making good or bad or even necessary decisions they have to make to stay alive and survive. If we remove yin from yang, then yang doesn't have what it takes to survive or defend itself from hostile threats. The yang will become vulnerable or a victim to people with dark intentions. But without yang, yin doesn't have the restraint to stop its urge of killing for sport instead of survival reasons or defense. But those two together, both sides, balance each other out. Yin keeps yang for not becoming naive or a victim, and yang keeps yin for not overkilling for sadist reason and not becoming too evil. But for psychopaths, they don't have that type of balanced mindset. They're just blinded by their impulse. They're just surrounded by yin with a tiny bit of yang fighting the other one's desire, but just a very, very small chance of controlling their evil intentions. My brother went through that, and that's when he started to tell a story. When he was about 13 years old, he had a brother named Kenneth, and he was the oldest brother, and I was the youngest. When we were young, he was normal, but when he got older, things started changing. He started chilling, mutilating animals. When our parents asked him why he did this, he responded, it keeps me calm. And this one time when I was asleep, he held a knife at my neck. I asked, what are you doing? He responded, just playing with you. After he say that, I had this unsettling feeling. I know he was doing reverse psychology and lies to throw me off, but deep down I know he had dark intentions. Would he have acted on those actions towards me? Yes. But deep down I don't know the answer. Only guess, but that wasn't even the worst part. A few times he smashed the wall, started crying, saying, I can't control it, me. On the other hand, after seeing that, it just made me cry, because deep down I knew he was struggling. Like he was fighting his own battles, and there's something in his brain I just mentally can't understand. It's like a parallel dimension I can't possibly enter or reach. And then that's when it all started, the time Kenneth killed our parents. I just walked in after hearing arguments, and then horrifying screaming. I came out of my room and saw my brother standing over our parents, over their lifeless bodies, and I saw his face. He looked satisfied, like he was fulfilled after seeing. That scared the crap out of me. But after that he started crying and laughing. In the floor, I called the cops, not wanting to be next before the cops came. I hugged my brother and said, this isn't your fault. The cops came and took him away to jail. I was left with my aunts, and that day I made a vow to find a way to cure people like my brother, to make sure they don't have their lives ruined like he did, and make sure people won't become victims of people like my brother, and the story ends back to the present. Lorenzo said we have to kill your other half before other lives are lost. Sasha said there must be another way. Maybe we can change her. Lorenzo responds, she killed 2 of my staffs, and almost me she does not have Yang. It's like prey arguing with a hungry predator. It won't end well. Sasha, she responded, we don't have to kill her, but we have to keep her isolated. Lorenzo responded, fine, but just in case things don't go your way, take this. He gives her a gun and said, just in case. Sasha responded, I won't kill her with this, but I'll keep her in bay and call you to retrieve her. Lorenzo says good luck, and the episode/story or movie ends there. Lorenzo, and